Well, this Job, again, as we've been talking about, is a very interesting book. As we stated, it's the oldest book in the Bible chronologically. It's a poetic wisdom book, and meant to be read and understood in that way. It's an ancient book. Many believe it was turned into a play. And we do see a narrator in this play, actually, at the beginning and the end, which is kind of interesting. And it looks like the setup of a play, or that kind of an interaction. And many feel and have felt that in the beginning of the book of Job, there's this whole, and I've got really two issues with it that I want you to be open to and I want you to think about. And the first issue is God kind of like sicking Satan, when Satan shows up in the heavenly council. And God asks him, so where have you been? I've been roaming around the earth, and seeing, I'm not up here in heaven. I've been looking around, seeing what I can do. And then God kind of calls out. Seems like God kind of calls out Job. It's like, whoa, God, what are you doing? Have you considered my servant Job? That's what you read in most translations of the Bible. However, many of you watching this are probably familiar. If you're not, it's a great resource, BibleGateway.com. Look up Job chapter 1 in the Expanded Bible, which looks at all the possible Hebrew interpretations of these phrases. And what you'll find there is something that my wife found about a year and a half ago, actually, in her little King James Bible in a footnote, and where God says, have you considered, it says, I can see you've set your heart against my servant Job. And we were both blown away. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Is that really saying that? I can see you've set your heart against my servant Job. If that's the case, would that change the way that looks? In other words, God's speaking to Satan and saying, have you considered? God can see even inside Satan's heart and says, I can see that you've set your heart on my servant Job. Wow. That changes, that reframes this book in a big way. The devil had already targeted Job. The devil was already against him. The devil wanted, what does it say in the New Testament? That he roams around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may what? Devour. Does it look like Job's life got devoured? I think if this happened to any one of us, we would consider it that our life had been devoured. Wouldn't we? 10 children killed. All of his wealth gone. His health completely ravaged. Whoa. And God's this is a little wager in heaven. This is the wager in heaven. That's how little our Heavenly Father thinks about us or loves us or cares about the suffering we're going through. Really, is that what you really think about God? I don't think it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trusting Him. You wouldn't be believing in Him. So it's very important, those little words. I can see you've set your heart against. That's a devastating thing. And another question I'd just like to throw out there for you to think about. In the New Testament, Jesus says what? I saw Satan cast out of heaven like a bolt of lightning. That sounds pretty permanent. Sounds like he's gone. We see the snake representing the devil show up in the Garden of Eden at the very beginning of time. This is before Job, right? Yes, it was. So now, if he's been thrown out like lightning, he's down on the earth. What's he doing in a meeting in heaven with all the other angels? What's he doing there? You ever thought about that? Maybe this is a poetic book. Maybe it's just a way of asking this very difficult question in an allegorical form. Maybe that's what it is. Satan's heart was really against Job. Satan was really roaming around the earth to destroy somebody. But I'm not so sure he was in a meeting with all the good angels and he just kind of popped in for a minute. Maybe not. Anyway, just think about it.